Some people tend to be more judgmental than we would like for them to be when looking at the mistakes we make. And we've all made our share of them. And let me tell you something. Keep on living. There are more to come. Nevertheless, it doesn't stop people from being critical of us, of you, when you make mistakes. And the kind of people I'm speaking of are those that want to know only your dirt. Never mind the dirt that's piling up over there in their respective corners. They want to know your dirt. So they can wag their fingers, shake their heads, and say things like, shame on you. You see, they want to know your dirt, but they don't want to know your glory. The glory of how you overcame the mistakes you've made, of how you got back up again and again after the fall. You see, there's no shame in your glory. So these people, they aren't interested in that because they can't use you as a whipping post for that. For me, however, I am interested in all of it. I want to know the what, when, where, and how you fail. But my purpose is to understand and to learn from, and not to judge. But even still, your fall is secondary and not primary to me, because it's your glory that is of more interest, of more value. There is where one can be inspired, uplifted, transformed, and empowered. But if you're the kind of person that is too busy wagging your fingers because you're caught up in the mess that someone else made, you will miss the lesson. Oh, you may not think you need the lesson at the time, but just keep on living. You'll hunger for the wisdom that you didn't care about obtaining then, because the mess was more appealing to you than the message. But there may come a time when you find yourself starving for the lesson that you previously rejected. And all you want to do is heal your hurt and conquer over the mistakes you've made, but you won't know how. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so enthralled in other people's messes, when the truth is, we all can be messy sometimes. And yes, I know some messes are bigger than others. Some are even catastrophic. But most of us have the propensity to conquer the mountains of messes we've made. So rather than criticizing each other, let's champion each other that we all might conquer our mountains and walk in our glory. And if by chance you don't have anyone to champion you over your mountain because they are too busy judging, champion yourself. You see, life has a way of throwing us some curveballs that can sometimes bring us to our knees. And when doing so, we forget our own strength. We forget our own power. We forget our own source. But the good book says that you can tell the mountain in your life to be removed and be cast into the sea of forgetfulness. And when you think your mountain is too great, remember that God is greater. And he has given you the authority to cast down your mountains. Mountain of victimization, mountain of illiteracy, mountain of poverty, mountain of pain, mountain of betrayal, mountain of guilt, mountain of addiction, mountain of failure, mountain of loss, mountain of depression, mountain of debt, and mountains of broken promises and unlived dreams. Whatever your mountain, whatever your circumstances, speak to your mountain and believe and know that the same God who brought you here on this planet, who has put within you this incredible gift called purpose, is the same God who will keep you. and who has created within you the strength and the fortitude to move mountains. If you just don't quit. Don't quit. You see, I know that you can surpass your surviving mode and step into your thriving mode, breaking down every stronghold through faith and tenacity. And if you don't believe, if you don't have the faith within yourself that you, yes, you, ladies and gentlemen, are a born conqueror, then stand on the faith that I have in you and in your ability to walk into your extraordinary. You see, I've had to borrow the faith of many, so I welcome the opportunity to pass it on. In the meantime, don't quit. Don't quit. Keep pushing. And just when you think you don't have another push left within you to get to the other side of your mountain, take a long, deep, calming breath. Press down and then push some more. You've got to keep pushing. It's very rare, ladies and gentlemen, that a woman pushes only once to give birth to the baby she's carrying. And if you find such a woman, she's got something really special going on down there. And so it is with the dreams you carry and the mountains you attempt to break through in your life. You've got to keep pushing. Imagine if the expectant mother gave up after pushing only once or twice because it's too hard, or seem impossible for something that big to come through something so small. None of us would have gotten past the womb. Some of you, ladies and gentlemen, may be carrying a dream that seems too big for you to hold, too impossible to come to pass. But everything that you see that currently exists in the world, great or small, was conceptualized by a thought, realized by an action. People are conquering mountains every day, pushing every day, birthing and nurturing their dreams every day. And if they can carry and birth the dream, then why can't you? Why can't you? Are you inferior? Of course not. So say to yourself, ladies and gentlemen, say to yourself that I am impregnated with purpose, and I shall not abort. I will keep pushing. I read somewhere that the three creators of the product WD-40 made 40 attempts before they perfected the product, which means they failed 39 times before they finally got it right. Now here it is, more than 60 years later, and millions of people have benefited from their gifts as consumers, employees, through their many social contributions, and they themselves have benefited as well as their families. But had they not been relentless in their pursuits or creative in their endeavors, we would have never been partakers of their gifts. And it didn't just impact their lives, but generations. Your gifts, ladies and gentlemen, will also impact generations. You overcoming whatever your mountain is will also impact generations. So you too, ladies and gentlemen, must be diligent and tenacious in tearing down that barrier, whatever it is, that separates you from your dreams, from your healing, and from becoming the person that you were created to be. Your life isn't to be given up on. Oh no, it's too precious for that. You've got to climb that mountain, speak to it, or tear it down, but you mustn't quit. And to every mountain that causes you despair and discomfort, Keep in mind that you also have a mountain of promises, a mountain of possibilities, a mountain of opportunities, a mountain of power, a mountain of ideas, a mountain of perseverance, and a mountain of profound strength and purpose. Rest on these mountains and remember who you are. Remember who you are. You are a born conqueror. Disregard the naysayers and the dirt seekers who want to know your dirt, but don't want to know your glory. And if you don't believe that you, ladies and gentlemen, yes, you are a born conqueror, a dirt overcomer, look at what some of you have had to endure just to get to where you are now. Some of your stories are so profound and gut-wrenching that you and your dreams should have perished underneath your trauma and the tragedy, but yet here you are, still living. You're still here. You have the audacity to still be standing. Not everyone made it past their mountains. Not everyone conquered over their mountains. Some were buried alive underneath their mountains of dirt, of pain and misfortune. Not everyone made it past their traumas, ladies and gentlemen. Some people died in their trauma. Some people gave up in their trauma. But no, not you. Look at yourself. You're still here. You may be hurt, but you're standing, scarred, but you're standing, wounded, but you're standing, disappointed, but you're standing. You're still here. You've been conquering mountains all this time, and some of you don't even know it. You're stronger than you know. But some of you may be trapped inside of your trauma because you have not yet decided to make your possibilities bigger than your pain or your faith greater than your fears. Ladies and gentlemen, long before the pain stopped, I made a decision to stop hurting. A decision. And I know I can hear some of you now saying, well, that's easier said than done. This mountain of mine is too enormous, too historic. It's been in my life for a long time. So there is no just deciding to get over it. Oh, sure, there's much work to be done. But please hear what I said. Long before the pain stopped, I made a decision to stop hurting. I made a commitment to myself that I would overcome, even when the how was uncertain, and even in the height of my suffering. When the naysayers said I couldn't, when the dirt seekers sought to judge not only my past, but my possibilities, I eventually came to that place where I could see myself conquering over my mountain. And I held fervently onto that vision, to that desire, and to that need to be freed. Even when it looked as if my mountain had already won. So, ladies and gentlemen, I both encourage and challenge you to make the decision right now, wherever you are, that you too will conquer your mountain. Because when you change your perspective and when you change your expectations, you also change your posture. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will drive your actions and will open up new avenues of support and resources. You see, there is power in your decision that will triumph over what you're feeling if you're serious about what you decide. Oh, I know it's hard. I know you're still hurting. I know you're still weeping over the past. Whatever your past consists of, whatever your regret or your hurt consists of. But again, there is power in your decision that will triumph over what you're feeling if you're serious about what you decide. Your hurt may be prevalent. It may be there. But in your deciding to overcome, you put yourself on the path of healing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I caution you to not dwell on your pain, but rather on your promises and your possibilities. And don't sell yourself on the lie that it's too late for you, because unless I'm talking to a bunch of dead folk, there is more living for you to do. Too late, rest in the grave, not with you. So don't stay buried underneath your mountain. Whatever it is, conquer your mountain. You see, etched in the womb of destiny, overcoming is in your DNA. And it's more than just biology. At the moment of your conception, followed by your birth, and let me just say this, you might have been born but naked, but spiritually you were wrapped in the clothes of destiny. And with the hand of God willing you to take your first breath of life, was his way of saying, DNA, destiny, now activated. You were not designed to give up. You were designed to conquer. Your very nature is to overcome the most insurmountable odds. So to every little girl and boy who feels stuck in the doorway of life, to every woman and man who feels like the weight of your circumstances and the world rests heavily upon your shoulders, and you can't see your dreams from your dragons, serve notice on your mountains today that you are a born conqueror. There's a conqueror in you. The good book says that God created 6 out of 7 days. That's 86% of his time. He was working on something incredible. And only then did he rest. But some of us have lived our lives doing the complete opposite, resting perhaps a mere 86% of our times, squandering, while creating a mere 14% of that which is possible. And I was guilty of this as well. Oh, I was a master at this. I spent so much time caught up in the trappings of victimization, of lack, of complacency, and of self-doubt because I didn't know my own strength and I didn't know my own possibilities. Ladies and gentlemen, you weren't created to function at minimal capacity in this life, but rather to give your all to your reason for being. And you weren't designed to quit. You were designed to conquer. So no matter what you have been through, molestation, rape, abuse, betrayal, addiction, incarceration, loss of your mental or physical health, loss of a loved one, loss of employment, loss of money, or loss of self, it's not over. You, yes, you, ladies and gentlemen, are an overcomer, a born conqueror, a child created out of the mind of supernatural brilliance. So conquer your mountain. Conquer your mountain. Conquer your mountain.